Today we're going to talk about 3 ways in which we can prove that triangles are congruent. Yesterday we talked about how we could prove congruency by proving that all the parts of the triangle were both the same size. And when we talked about triangles, we talked that there were 6 parts to a triangle. We said 3 angles, 3 sides. It would take us quite a long time to have to do that with every single triangle. So there are some things that we can do in order to make this a little quicker. And they are by using the side, 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 the side, angle, and angle, side, angle postulates. Now, just like their names suggest, all you need in the first one is to prove that 3 of the sides would be congruent. In the second one, you need to prove that 2 sides and the inclusive angle is congruent. And in the third, you would prove that 2 angles and the inclusive side would have to be congruent. Please again note that the side has to be in between the 2 angles, just as the angle has to be kind of sandwiched between the 2 sides. Take a look at this triangle. If we were trying to prove the side-side postulate, saying that all 3 sides would be congruent, and we try to manipulate this to be any other triangle, you would find that you couldn't do this. The sides have to remain, and therefore the angles will remain the same. So even if I tried to manipulate that side by keeping the same length to it, you would find it impossible to keep the same length to form the triangle, which you will notice then affects the angles. You couldn't form another triangle using the same sides and have different angles. I will encourage you at the end of the video to go to the links on the website and play around with the program to show a little bit more deeply how manipulating the triangle affects the angle. Therefore, you can't create a new triangle with same sides but different angles. We're going to be using those 3 postulates quite a bit in proving triangles congruent. If we look at the first example, we're going to try to do a proof that proves that triangle KRM is congruent to triangle PRO. We're given the following. The angle 3 is congruent to angle 6. Side KR is congruent to PR. And angle KRO is congruent to PRO. And look at what we're trying to prove. KRM being congruent to PRO. Now, look at the highlighted triangles. What you should notice is that we already have a pair of congruent sides, and we also have a pair of congruent angles. Sorry, but the congruent angles actually are at the top. So we have angles and a pair of sides that show congruency. Now, thinking about the postulates that we just talked about, side, 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 angle, and angle, side, angle, think about what would be the easiest to try to prove. We already have an angle and a side, so it might be easiest to prove one of these. That means we'd only need a side in this case, or another angle if we use angle, side, angle. Now look at the diagram. Think about things that are assumed and things that we can conclude from given theorems in the past. Now, if we look at the diagram, we know that line KM is a straight line. which would mean that angle 4 and angle 3 are supplementary, as is 5 is to 6. Since we now just supported that they are supplementary, and we know that one of the supplementary angles are congruent, we can then go to the conclusion that angle 4 congruent to angle 5. And the reason, if angles are supplementary to congruent angles, then they are congruent. So we have angle 4 congruent to angle 5. And actually, I mismarked this diagram a little bit. We know that this full angle in here is congruent to this full angle in here. But this is an easy fix. We can still easily get to this angle in here and this angle by using the subtraction property. Because if an angle is subtracted from congruent angles, then the differences are congruent. Now, since we've supported two angles and a side, we can go right to the proof that triangle KRM is congruent to triangle PRO using the angle side angle postulate. Again, make sure that your angle sandwich in the sides that you're using.